Is the era of super popular hype priests over? Well, considering the never-ending infidelity scandals, celebrities, and what's now being termed the business of Christianity, it looks like Hillsong is pretty much done for, thanks to hype priests. Stick around as we tell you all about these charismatic preachers who got megachurches massively popular with celebrities and sportsmen, until some temptations became way too much to resist. The rise of Hillsong's Lentz. So this is where it all began, way back in the summer of 2017, when Justin Bieber unexpectedly canceled the remainder of a concert tour that brought him across 6 continents in 16 months. The star claimed he was tired, and his fans were obviously fretting. However, a more hopeful story soon appeared on the gossip website TMZ. The 23-year-old singer had abandoned the tour after dedicating his life to Christ, thanks to a preacher called Lentz, the leader of global megachurch Hillsong's New York City chapter. According to the gossip website, the priest and the pop star were inseparable during the time. What a weird crossover. Bieber even regarded Lentz as a second father figure. Whoa, has no one told Justin about taking it slow? It was shocking how this mysterious pastor's friendship with the star launched him into a new dimension of stardom and fame, where he became not just a celebrity priest, but a celebrity himself. This dude was being interviewed by the likes of Oprah Winfrey, appearing on the Kardashians' Instagram, and hanging out with a jet-setting gang of other trendy pastors, including Rich Wilkerson Jr., the pastor who performed the wedding ceremony of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. He was everywhere. Next, the grail-wearing pastors. From Justin's concert to his social media, heck, even in his wardrobe, if Bieber was getting guidance from his spiritual gurus, he also got fashion advice from them, or they were taking notes from your boy Biebs? Whatever it was. Justin Bieber and his pastors responded dressed similarly everywhere they went. They were having a ball praising the Lord, and they seemed like pop stars dressed for a vacay. It's not news that pastors have learned how to dress with style and grace thanks to the media, and this has been the case ever since Hillsong sprang into our cultural radar. But when did it become cool for the world's top pop artist to dress like his pastor? Or more specifically, when did pastors start dressing like Justin Bieber? The look screamed, "I love God," but also whispered, "I do drugs." We get it. Pastors don't have to wear boring khakis and robes all the time, but the idea that a man of God with uninvolved and conservative views on various modern social issues might also have highly evolved ideas on fashion, stardom, and the spiritual concerns of city-dwelling hipsters was shocking, to say the least. Lentz, the celebrity preacher, wore super dope drip from the exclusive Louis Vuitton Supreme collection. He dressed in what looked like to be Kanye West associate Don C's bespoke basketball shorts. It didn't stop there. The God man also made sure his brothers from the church changed their style as well. Zoe Church preacher Chad Veach preferred Fear of God ball caps, as well as skater-approved Vans and long socks. The other city church pastor began tucking his printed shirts in like a stylish cool kid, and the VOO church priests like Gucci the best. Most of these pastors dress like their spiritual charge Justin Bieber, with a combo of graphic-heavy streetwear, maybe merch, and ultra-high-end luxury pieces that put other celebs to shame. And now, the hyper priest is born. It appeared as if your regular preacher began to evolve. It was no longer enough to wear a biker jacket and not comment on gay marriage for the celebrity priests. Nuh-uh. You must instead do it while wearing skater socks, aggressive shades, and drawstrings that are extremely long. And maybe throw in some Justin Bieber merch. The good old hipster preacher of Hillsong had died, and someone new had filled the void. He's a man who's God-fearing and wears what make you fear God, aka the hyper priest. But being a hyper priest required more than simply looking cool. It was also a matter of marketing. The fact that these people tend to be celebs who are always under the fashion microscope thanks to paparazzi, gossip publications, and Instagram-based outfit trackers means they're intimately well-versed in what's trending. And it's what's trending is the freedom to wear your own logo over your chest, and down your sleeves, across the hem of your shorts, and up the side of your socks. It just means that the hyper priest represented an evolutionary high point in marketing. Despite all these efforts to fit in, the emergence of hyper priest to many was slightly disorienting though. It felt different, hyper-modern, scary clever. The combination in the hyper priest of so many of the trends that make the fashion world and the rest of life feel so sped up, fragmented, and frenzied, and nothing was spiritual about any of this. An impression that we're always being marketed to, the ever-presence of the logo, the elevation of exclusivity and limited availability stood out to many, but everything must come to an end, and this is what we'd rather call a fashion circus, which didn't last very long either. Hallelujah. Up next, the scandals of a God-man. As Lentz's popularity as a high priest grew, many members believed that the church's focus on fame and cultural influence, which had also helped it flourish, was overshadowing its original spiritual objective. But concerns of lacking in the church's original purpose wasn't what brought the God-man down. It all came crumbling down in the worst way imaginable. A scandal that put a dark shadow over one of America's most powerful megachurches. In a shocking turn of events, Hillsong founder Brian Houston sacked Lentz, claiming leadership challenges and breaches of trust, as well as a discovery of moral shortcomings. In an email to churchgoers in 2020, just a day later, Lentz admitted on Instagram, where he had over 700,000 followers, that he cheated on his wife. Yikes. Houston explained how the church discovered more than one affair, but sexual infidelity was only one part of the story. He further linked Lentz's dismissal to overall narcissistic behavior, manipulating and mistreating others, as well as a breach of trust related to constantly lying. This isn't the first time Houston has had to deal with controversy. In 2015, an Australian committee committee found that he had failed to notify authorities about child sexual abuse allegations against his own father, who was a renowned Australian preacher. Houston's father was accused of sexually assaulting a young boy decades earlier in the late 1990s. When his son discovered the truth, Houston forced his father, who has since died, to resign. The two churches joined soon after and were called Hillsong, but it turns out changing its name didn't help the church dodge controversies and scandals either. In other news, Houston, we have a problem. If you thought getting rid of one or two dirty fish is gonna make it any better, you're mistaken. Years after the whole Lentz sex scandal, it turned out that Brian Houston, the father of Hillsong Church, was also involved in sexual misconduct with two women. Like father, like son. An internal investigation found that Houston had breached the church's moral code of conduct for pastors. The priest confessed, pun intended, that he had in fact sent two inappropriate texts to a female staff member and barged into another one's hotel room under the influence of alcohol. Despite this, Houston was not sacked, but resigned as the head of Hillsong. Internal letter blasts church's reaction to Houston's unhealthy leadership. Since then, the church has gone through weeks of tension, and at least one of the leadership has resigned, with 9 of Hillsong's 16 U.S. branches having parted ways from the church, as they should. Following all this, a senior Hillsong member has sent an angry letter to the church's worldwide board, criticizing its handling of concerns against its former head Brian Houston, and his leadership style. In the letter, John Mays, the church's head of people and development, demanded that Brian Houston and his wife, Bobby, should be sacked from Hillsong, claiming that the former head considered himself beyond disciplinary boundaries. He added that the directors involved in managing the matter should consider quitting since they failed in their governance and ethical duty. He asked for an independent investigation of the church's highest body decisions. Finally, someone who's demanding answers. The future of the Hillsong empire. The judgment day has finally arrived for the pastors, but not exactly how they had promised it. After the high priest resigned in disgrace following some pretty serious accusations, the church has further been rocked by the news that former Hillsong Dallas pastor Reed Boggart resigned last year after being accused of rape. This has been confirmed by a former Hillsong college student who recently stepped forward with claims that the church covered up her sexual assault. Church officials are very aware of the doomsday-ish situation that awaits them too. In a recently leaked video called Transcript, the officials confess the obvious: Hillsong is in trouble, since the church has repeatedly tried to blame the scandals and some serious accusations on individual flaws, rather than the system that breeds it. This only reveals a systematic culture that is corrupt to the core with the church and continues to be ignored. The Hillsong future is clearly darker than the depths of hell. Do you think Hillsong's hipster priest will make a comeback? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one!